Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer is the kind of movie that demands respect, or at least demands that you clear your entire schedule, stay dehydrated, and prepare to watch Cillian Murphy stare hauntingly into the abyss for 3 straight hours. It's a cinematic achievement, sure, but let's not pretend it isn't also the most dramatic way possible to remind us that physicists can be just as angsty as teenage poets. First things first, Oppenheimer is long. Like, really long. This movie is so long that you could start it, bake a loaf of bread from scratch, and still come back in time for the bomb to drop. By the time the credits roll, you've aged enough to qualify for Social Security benefits. And let's talk about the pacing, because nothing says blockbuster like an hour of men arguing about theoretical physics, followed by another hour of men arguing about politics, topped off with a final hour of men arguing about, well, mostly each other. Cillian Murphy is incredible, don't get me wrong. He spends the entire movie looking like he just remembered he left the stove on. And somehow, that's exactly the right vibe for J. Robert Oppenheimer. His piercing blue eyes could probably split an atom on their own, but mostly they just stare sadly into the middle distance while Ludwig Göransson's score makes it sound like the end of the world is always just around the corner. And speaking of intensity, Nolan, we get it. Every scene is either whispered like a top-secret government meeting or blasted with music so loud you'd think Hans Zimmer came back just to mess with our eardrums. The sound design is like an atomic bomb itself, unpredictable, deafening, and probably responsible for some mild tinnitus. Then there's the actual bomb sequence. You'd think a movie about the invention of the most destructive weapon in human history would make its big moment last, but nope. When the Trinity test finally happens, it's over in what feels like 5 minutes. Meanwhile, Oppenheimer's existential crisis, that lasts forever. Sure, it's visually stunning, but at a certain point you start to wonder if the real explosion was just a metaphor for how long you've been sitting in the theater. And let's not forget the side characters. Robert Downey Jr. plays a man so bitter and petty that he spends years trying to ruin Oppenheimer's life just because he got side-eyed at a meeting once. Emily Blunt, playing Kitty Oppenheimer, spends most of her screen time drinking and glaring at people like she just lost a bet about whether this movie would pass the Bechdel test. Florence Pugh, on the other hand, is mostly there to remind us that Oppenheimer had a personal life, even if Nolan directs love scenes the way most people write awkward work emails. In the end, Oppenheimer is a technical masterpiece, a historical epic, and an emotionally devastating journey. But let's be honest, it's also a 3-hour stress dream where science, politics, and existential dread collide in IMAX. It's the kind of movie you respect more than you actually enjoy, unless your idea of fun is watching a man slowly unravel while the government makes it everyone's problem. But hey, at least it wasn't in Tenet time travel. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Quirky Critic signing out.